this is what I learned, in I got one more month to my birthday, but this is what I have accumulated and learned, you know, as a young man. This is what I learned about relationships, people, you know, uh, and I know for a fact that the stuff that I'm saying is going to be relatable to the audience that I'm, you know, to the audience that YouTube pushed this out to, right? I know for a fact the stuff that I'm going to talk about in this video is most definitely going to be relatable. It's going to hit home, you know. But this is basically going to be about what I have learned from being, a young 21, year old about relationships, people, and just pretty much, within my life, right? Let's start here, right? People only care about what you can do for them, right? People only care about the momentarily, short term. Actually, no, but they will use you in the long term if you keep, if you keep it available, right? If you don't have your discernment, all the way there, or if you just probably just a nice person, or but people will really use you, right? And as far as me gaining respect as a young man and things regarding that, what I have learned is the most optimal thing that I can utilize within my relationships, that I can, what I have seen that improve relationships, honestly, it's just, time. Like, I can give you an example, right? So when I say time, I'm talking about like, okay, like, how long ago was that? When I was 19, I think. 19 years old, I was living with my mom, right? The 19, it was around that time, right? 19, I was living with my mom, right? The ways in which she would get, disrespectful, right? The ways in which she would get disrespectful, because it's like she's the head honcho within the household, right? My dad wasn't there at that, at the time and stuff like that. So the ways in which she would get disrespectful when it comes to communicating with the rest of the, her children that's within, the rest of her kids, the rest of, the people that's in the household, it would be just, blatantly disrespect, right? And the reason why we didn't, have, the reason why they didn't, the reason why my parent, the reason why my mom didn't respect me is because she didn't see me how she sees me now, right? And the reason why she sees me in a different light now is because I'm operating and I'm moving like a real young man, right? If you want to gain respect within your relationships, bro, you have to. I'm not gonna say you have to boss up. Like, no, that's cliche, right? No, no, no. They have to see you operating in a consistent masculine frame. Now, here's the thing: don't get this masculine frame, misconstrued it. Just operate, with a level of dignity, self-respect. That's all, right? When a person assaults you, you don't get so emotional, right? Only expect that person to act how that person acts. If your expectations become like that, you can never get disappointed and you can rarely get riled up, right? Another thing I learned with me, getting close to turning 22 is if you're young, like, now mind you, I'm not being a hypocrite, but I'm just saying, I would advise you not to get in relationships. Don't get in no relationship, because when you're young, you're still developing emotional intelligence, that God is bestowing upon you, or, that life experience as far as with relationships. So, you can take this from this relationship and be more knowledgeable according to how this relationship went, and just operate differently according to, how that last relationship went. But here's the thing, be careful though, because a lot of people operate within their new relationships with past trauma. So if you was now mind you, if you was traumatized in the last relationship, you're going to move completely different than the next relationship. Who's that texting me? Excuse me. But you're gonna move completely different from the last relationship, right? So be mindful of the relationships you're establishing. Have some emotional intelligence to pinpoint when a person is being manipulative, or if a person making you feel a certain way that you don't want to feel like, right? Create that distance factor. Create that distance factor, because you that's watching this video, you deserve to be treated like a king or a queen, right? But in order for you to get that, that status, or in order for people to look at you like that, you have to be operating like that, right? You have to stand on your 10 toes as far as your morals, right? You have to, because people will take advantage. They will try to take advantage. That little glimpse of that little glimpse of genuinity that you give them, they will try to step on it. They will try to step on it. So be observant and watch people's actions when it comes to building relationships. It ain't necessarily gotta be a sexual relationship. Any relationship, right? People will step on you, right? People will step on you. Another thing is, as far as with people being young, if you're in our audience, mind you, this is to whoever watching this, because life is life. All types of things happen in life, right? This information could be applied to whatever age group that it hits, or whatever age group that it resonates with, right? So here's the thing: be mindful. Hey, you got certain days, or you got certain months that you're making a lot of money, or if you're young, bro, don't feel bad about stacking your money up, living with your mom, living with your dad, shit like that. Don't feel bad about it, bro, because I'm gonna tell you something, right? With me being 21 and I'm about to turn 22, I've been living on my own probably like a year, right? So I've been living on my own for like a year. When I tell you the ups and downs, when it comes to the good months that I have as far as financially, versus the bad months. Okay, you still gotta pay that rent, you still gotta pay that NISCO, despite the bad months, you still have to pay bills. Here's the thing: if you stack long enough, though, you have more emergency money. On my end, no, I just took the opportunity. I seized the opportunity, to get my own apartment, and things was I was, going from couch to couch. It wasn't looking good for me. Just being transparent with y'all, right? I'm not trying to make it seem like I'm just this know it all. Look, you see the headboard. I ain't trying to make it seem like I got everything going on. But this is simply what I have learned from, another thing I can say is, another thing I learned after graduation. What is it? It's been 4 years. 4 years since again, 4 years since I graduated, right? So this is pretty much a compiled, what I have learned within, just living after graduation and stuff, right? But yeah, another thing, don't be too captivated on social media. When I say social media, it's a lot of propaganda. It's a lot of false narratives, and it's not reality. When I say it's not reality, like the relationship standards, when it comes to not even just relationship standards, social media, period, it's not reality, bro. It's not reality. Example. Now, mind you, I love talking about, relationships. I love talking about relationships. I feel like I'm very, I feel like I'm very, I don't know. I just feel like that might be a specific calling of mine, but I'm very good at it. But here's the thing: as far as relationships, the relationship status, not status, the relationship standards that social media propagates, it literally destroys relationships, right? It really, destroys relationships, like, and that's why, as African American people and things going like we have literally like no patience with our people. We literally it's nothing for us to turn our backs on our people. Like social media promotes the degenerate content, right? The ignorant content, black people, embarrassing black people, Hispanic people, doing, just they promote degeneracy, right? So when it comes to social media, honestly, as far as the main media propagated relationships, that standards, and it's just not true, right? It's just not true, right? Like as far as the women, I've dealt with after graduation, like in just relationships, period, after graduation, like people respect you less when you have less. When you have less, they don't respect you at all, right? They won't see your visions. People not gonna see your visions, even if people not gonna see your visions unless you already have accomplished, probably 65 or 85% of your vision. They're not going to see it. Here's the thing. No. Let me clear that up. Let me clarify that. They're not going to see the vision until you got the results. Example, right? I have YouTube platforms. Say that I get monetized on all 4 or 3, right? Say I get monetized on all 3. People are going to notice that. Okay, Dalen, he's looking different. He's dressing different. Okay, I know he's been talking about YouTube for a long time. Now they're going to come back. A bit more. Like they're going to try to coerce. The relation. Oh, I always believed in you. You never did. You lied. You never did. I had someone tell me I heard someone tell me that they will never support me. Never. That's tough. That is tough. But it is what it is. We got to keep putting our best foot forward, as young people or just as people in general that, like my message to you is don't let anyone or anybody, anything, right? Stop what you want to accomplish within this world. It's so many things, so many goals that people can create. There's new things that people want each and every day, but never let your desires get in between of your relationship with the Most High, with God, right? Put the Most High first, and the things in which you desire will come, come after that. That's pretty much my message as far as young people. Don't get too captivated in, the social media. Understand and operate with a level of discernment with your relationships. Don't feel bad about, living, with your parents and things like that, stacking that money up. It's nothing wrong with it, bro. I'm telling you, because paying bills and shit like that is really not like, it's not as big as it's not as, I'm gonna say it's this. Bills will slap you in the face. That's all I'm gonna say. They come in monthly. They don't care about your situation. They don't care. They're coming. But be mindful. Yeah, just be mindful. Operate with some discernment. Put the Most High first. And, I hope you prosperity, within your endeavors and things regarding that. But yeah, I'm closing out, y'all. You like me, you like my personality, I appreciate that, y'all. But I'm out.